Welcome. I'm just setting this up right now. Welcome. All right, checking everything 1, 2, and we should be good to go. All right, guys. Welcome to those who are joining in right now, to those who join in later, and also those who watch the replay. Welcome to Funding and Business, and in this video I'm going to help you guys learn how to apply for a small business loan. Like, I'm super excited because I've been working on this for a long time. Even last week, if you were here, you could see that I've actually changed the layout. I've added so much stuff to make the video more optimized for you. So if you're just joining me right now, you'll find below in the bottom you can see how to apply for a business for SBA loan, and on the side you'll also see the talking points that we're talking about. By the way, my name is Silvester. I'm a funding specialist with over 10 years, and the reason I'm saying I'm excited to do this is because this is over years of trials and tribulations with different types of businesses, helping them acquire working capital, even those businesses that thought they would never get approved for it. So without further ado, if you're struggling to apply for an SBA loan and understanding how they are and how to make your business qualify, then this is the video for you. So by the end of this video, the main objective is to learn how to apply for an SBA loan, the SBA loan eligibility requirements, the different types of loans, and the advantages and disadvantages of SBA loans. Plus, I'll give you guys a bonus tip on various resources that you can use to actually get lenders and free mentorship programs. Now, again, I know this might be a little bit controversial, but let's start by explaining exactly what an SBA loan is. I see in general they'll tell you it's any type of financial tool or loan that is given by banks that is backed up by the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration. So any type of loan that is backed up by the SBA, that's considered an SBA loan. But that can be a little bit complicated, so let's just explain it in layman's terms, like third grade English. So think of it like when you was a kid in the playground and you needed to play around with a toy, and maybe one of the kids or some of the kids didn't want to share it with you because of various reasons we cannot mention, but the teacher steps in and then says, hey, it's okay for you guys to share. I got your bag, or I'll cover in case something happens. Now, the teacher is not really the person giving out the toy. They're just backing it up just in case something happens to it. So that's the same concept as the SBA loan. They don't really dish out the loans or give out the loans. They use third parties to actually fund, and each party or lender or institution has their own criteria or requirements that they will need for you to get approved. So now that we got that, let's say that the part, and that's what I'm saying now, this might be a little bit controversial, especially when people say that SBA loans are very, very hard. So let's see why they're not. Because when you look at the Small Business Act, which was written down in 1953 and passed by President Dwight in 1953, the act was signed into law in July 30th and established the U.S. Small Business Administration as an independent agency. Its core functions were to aid and assist small businesses. So when you say that it's very hard to get a small business loan, then it kind of defeats the purpose of getting the SBA in the first place. So that's why I was mentioning the SBA Act, the Small Business Act, because the first myth we always say SBA loans are impossible to qualify for. Well, they're actually designed to help you end your business, not really shut them out. As long as you have the right paperwork and the guidance and approval, it's very realistic. And that's why I say a lot of videos out here are more about how to apply for an SBA loan, but not really teaching you how you qualify for. So, because an application is just the type of information you send to the lender, people like us, but that's your social, your name, address, business score. But on the other hand, your qualification is actually the requirements that your business must meet in order to be approved for the loan. Okay, so the other part where it says SBA loans take forever to fund. Again, as we look at it, they preserve free competitive enterprises and they aid and counsel and assist small businesses. So if you're familiar with SBA Express loans, then you know for a fact that only takes 36 hours to get approved and only 30 days to actually get funded. So not all types of SBA loans, as we shall discuss in the video, actually take forever. And the last myth says that SBA loans are for big and established businesses. The name itself says small businesses. And again, if you stick around, I will actually be able to show you a tool, a financial resource tool that's on the SBA website that can actually help you determine whether or not your business qualifies as a small business. All right, now if it's one thing you guys take away from this video, it's actually learning how to use your business as leverage to acquire any type of working capital, whether it's SBA loans, whether it's invoice factoring. And that's the main goal here. It's not just to learn how to apply, because anybody can apply for any type of funding. And I'll give you an example. If you guys were back in high school, again, whether you want to join the debate team, whether you want to join the math team, the cheerleading team, you could be able to apply for it. But the question is, were you able to qualify? Does the team really need you? What other aspects are you bringing to the team? So other than just applying, also learn how to qualify for these loans. And that's where leveraging your business comes in. And the only way you can be able to leverage your business is to be able to look at these factors such as knowledge, your network, and your reputation. Your network is things such as your customer base and also your lenders. Your reputation, on the other hand, is things such as your credit score and your years in business. And your knowledge is how familiar are you with the product. Okay? So now, I know what you guys are thinking. Where do I actually get an SBA loan? Because we've said all this, but if you stick till the end, again, I said there's several resource tools such as the SBA website resource that can help you match yourself with the lender. And this is very, very important, because people just go around applying to any institution. You have to match yourself with the lender that actually understands your circumstances. For example, there's lenders that only work with new businesses. There's lenders that only work with businesses that are at least 2 years and above. There's lenders that only work with businesses that have a certain amount of cash flow. So the place you're going to get an SBA loan is your regular traditional banks, your credit unions, and your private lenders. But as I said, stick till the end, and I can actually show you guys a good resource where you can actually match yourself with the lender that actually suits your business needs and circumstances. Because I've seen this a lot, guys, where you just apply and you wonder, why was I not approved? Well, you went to a lender who only deals with people who are established 2 years and above, yet you're just in your first year or your 6 months, so you're barely even having good cash flow. Okay, so now with that said, the next thing is, what are the requirements for an SBA loan? First of all, you have to make sure that your business is highly profitable. Okay, your business must be super profitable. It has to be based in the United States. It also must qualify as a small business, and that's what we're going to talk about right here. How do you know if your business is a small business? So that's what I was saying. We're going to look at some of the tools right now that can help you right now. And if you can look at this tool, let's see if I'm able to pull it up. Yeah. So this is the tool you're going to use. So this is a SBA tool. I have the link in the description. So it's a size standard tool to know whether or not your business is part of SBA loans. It's not SBA loan, but is considered a small business. So if you look at it, they ask you to start by NAICS code, which part of us don't really know what that is, but the North American. And if you're watching, thank you. Feel free to chime in with your opinions, chat, thoughts, questions. I love questions. I really, really love questions. And all right, so they're saying if you don't know which NAICS code to select, visit this, and then it'll give you an example. So like, let's see, reference file, manual, and then you'll have to put a key here. So let's say enter keyword or digit code. Let's say construction business, and then so again, if you're watching, let us know where you're watching from. Feel free to give us your opinions, your thoughts, and again, we also have questions. We'll have questions. As you can see, we're talking about how to apply for a SBA loan, and we're currently at the part where we're talking about how to make sure your business is a small business loan. So like we can see the construction, sand, gravel. So this is the number that you're going to choose if it falls on that, based on the number. Then come back, click here, and then search, paste. So that means it's construction, sand, and graveling. So this one, once you get that, search for it. You say number of employees. You have to have at least less than 100 employees if you're to be considered a small business. Again, if you're joining in, let us know where you're watching from, and as you can see, we're able to identify that this business is considered, are you a small business eligible for government contracting? Yes. So because you have 500, they already have the number. So now that we see that, we can go back to the question. As we were saying, what else do you need to qualify? What are the requirements for a small business? You already checked up here. You already checked, and then now you have to also have part ownership of the business. Like you have to have more than 20% of the business in order to apply for SBA loan. You cannot have just 5-10%. It has to be 10% and more. You also have to be credit worthy. That means you have to have a solid credit score. Usually we say 650 and above, but again, I say if you use the lender matching tool, you might find a few lenders that are a little bit lenient with it and would be able to consider like a fairly low score if you have maybe a high collateral or standing with them or history too. That's why you need to do proper research way before you start applying for an SBA loan. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you. We're talking about how to apply for SBA loan. Please put down your thoughts, your opinions, and we love questions. Right now we're covering the requirements for an SBA loan, and if you can check on my side right here, the talking points today was about how to apply for an SBA loan, the different types of SBA loans, the pros and cons of SBA loans, and right now we're covering the SBA loan requirements, and I'm also giving out a couple of free resources. I already gave out a free resource to identify whether or not your business is a small business loan. There's a checklist online on the SBA website. Again, I'd also like to mention at the moment there's a government shutdown. So at this date, that is 10/6/2025. So SBA loans are currently at a hold, but that doesn't mean you stop learning about it. As I said, the only way you can leverage your business is acquiring knowledge, reputation, and network. Again, as I said, the other part is being credit worthy, and that way your requirements for an SBA loan is to use the funds for only approved reasons. That's usually in the part where you're applying for the loan. You have to mention where and why you're watching this. Then you must have exhausted all other options. I can tell you this for sure, that if most lenders can see that you actually qualify for other types of loans that you haven't applied for, they'll actually push you towards that, because this again is to create a free, fair playing ground for people who are not able to acquire working capital in other places or with other financial institutions. Again, another requirement for the SBA loan, last but not least, is that you have to be within, you can't be a non-eligible industry. This includes gambling, adult filming, cannabis, and in the future they're trying to make sure that we can be able to fund those. So now, what are the different types of SBA loans? Okay, so there's several types of SBA loans. Slide down. Okay, so now I need to talk about the different types of SBA loans. So There's seven types. There's several types, but due to time, we'll just cover the three main types of SBA loans. That's the SBA 7A loan, the SBA 504 loan, and the SBA macro loan. Now, the SBA 7 loan is usually for general business funding, and it funds up to $5 million. It's best used for working capital, real estate, equipment, business acquisition, and debt financing. Again, you should also note that the 7A also comes with something called the SBA Express loan. So if you're looking for working capital that's within 30 days funding, 30 and less than 48-hour approval, then the SBA Express loan is the best financial tool. Because let's be real for a second, the biggest worry for most business owners is the time it actually takes for you to be approved and apply for a loan. Because sometimes you're looking at it like this: by the time the opportunities there, like by the time they fill out the application and do the follow-ups, sometimes the opportunity is already gone. And now you don't want that. You want something that's really fast. And again, if you stick around, we'll talk about other different types of loans that are far separated from the SBA that are super fast, like the merchant cash advance. But that's a whole other topic. But for now, just covering the SBA Express loans that you can be sure can be approved within 36 hours and have you funded within 30 days. Now, the other loan is SBA 504 loan. This is a loan for long-term fixed assets, and they offer up to $15 million. And they're best used for land acquisition, construction, renovation, and purchasing major equipment. Now, last but not least, this is the SBA microloan. They're usually based for smaller funding needs because the maximum you're actually going to get is $50,000. They're best for working capital, inventory, equipment, startup costs, and business acquisitions. The SBA microloans are actually one of the easiest and best to get because maybe I think it's the amount. And also the SBA microloans, you don't really need to put down a deposit as compared to other loans where if you have two or more, like if you borrow over $25,000, then you're more likely to be requested to put down a deposit. Now, let's take a look at the pros and cons of the SBA loan. Now, the biggest advantage of the SBA loan is that it's easy to qualify for compared to a traditional loan. And I know that might be controversial, contradicting, but again, as I said, due to the Small Business Act, the main goal is to make sure these loans or financial tools are accessible, that they created a free playing ground. Okay, a free playing ground. They also offer large amounts. They also offer long terms and better rates. And again, this is also possible just because the SBA is actually covering part of the loan. This reduces the risk and then makes the lender more comfortable to offer a bigger amount to stretch the terms and also be like, okay, I can ease off with the qualification requirements because part of it is being backed up. However, the disadvantages, I will not really call this a disadvantage as per se, because the application process is long. So now that you already know, as we were mentioning before here, the different types of loan, I forgot to mention that all this take at least 30 to 60 days. 30 to 60 days just to get approved and funded. So once you already know and understand this in the first place, the best thing is to actually plan ahead. So do not take an SBA loan for an emergency or anything that needs funds fast, because it's going to take you a long time to get approved. So if it's for a long-term project and you already know that you have things in place and it's just a matter of when you get the money to start the project rather than if, then the SBA loans are best. And then again, it also requires some form of collateral or down payment, and this is dependent on the lender, though most of them will require collateral. The down payment is based on the amount. If you're borrowing $25,000 and below, I doubt they'll really ask for any down payment. But make sure you talk to your lender. These are questions you need to be asking them prior to applying for the loan or signing anything. All right, now on to this. So I know, so things nobody tells you is what exactly a lender is looking for. Because again, you might qualify for the loan, but what are most lenders looking for? So usually there's something in general called the 4 C's, but again, that's a little bit complicated, so I'll just break it down a little bit. So lenders are looking more for collateral. This is what they'll use to cover part of the loan in case your business defaults. It's really common again for loans above 25,000. Again, your credit score has to be above 650, and this is variable with different lenders. Some lenders will be flexible at 650, some lenders will be very strict at 700. Especially if you're a startup, I can guarantee you they really have high credit score requirements. The other thing will be cash flow. They'll review your finances and how responsible you are with your business bank account. They'll request for things such as maybe 3 to 10 bank statements, as far as 6 months bank statements. And again, last but not least, they need you to put down a down payment. Some lenders will require a security to offer the loan in the first place. Again, for example, let's say you need 100,000 or you have been approved for 100,000, they'll require 10%, which is about 10,000 just for you to get approved for the loan. And again, I know sometimes it seems like a scam when people say, hey, why should I put down this money if they're gonna give me more money? I've heard of scams like that, but the main reason for this is you're putting down the 10,000 as part of collateral, like a guarantee. It makes the loan less risky for the lender. Okay, now as we're almost finishing, so now my big thing is, why is nobody really talking about this part? Like seriously, I've really watched a couple of videos out here, and most of them just really talk about how to apply for an SBA loan, but they don't really show you the next step. What are you doing after learning how to apply? Because I can know how to apply, anybody can learn. All you need to do is show me the link and the documents I need to move with. But the thing but here's the thing, not knowing where to go or how to go about it is the biggest issue that a lot of business owners face. And that's why in this live I'm also sharing a couple of resources that you guys can actually use to go and get the SBA loan, actually apply and approve. You already know how it's done. It's just a matter of taking action. So the first thing that you need to do in order to be approved for an SBA loan or qualify for one is to fix your credit score. This is just in black and white. There's no way around it. If your credit score is not good, again, just click in the link in the description on how to master the art of using debt to grow your business, because there's other alternatives other than the SBA loan. Though I would really encourage you guys to work hard on your credit score, fix it, because credit is key. No lie, credit is key everywhere. Again, as I say, work with a specialized lender. And as I promised, I said I was going to give you guys a few links, and here's one of them. So the first link is where to get a lender you can actually match and work with. So the first one here is this, and this is a lender tool. We have we have a lender match connect tool over here. So this is how it works. Again, for you to be able to find a lender online, you need to just describe your needs, answer a few questions about your business in as little as a few minutes. Then you're going to get matched in a couple of days, mostly 2 days. The access is a curated list of lenders who express interest in your loan. Again, now talk to a lender once you have them, compare rates, terms, fees, and more. And again, when you're talking to a lender, please be honest about your situation. If you're a new business, do not say I've been in business for 2 years, because they will ask for this document, and then it will really look bad when they're finding out you're just 6 months in business, you have a very crooked credit score. Just be honest with them, and they'll let you know whether or not they can actually work with you. Last but not least, just apply for the loan. They'll send you the documents. And again, this is the best checklist. This is the best checklist. So now I forgot to put it on. I'm sorry, guys. So as I was saying, this is the link, the lender link match, and it can take you to the lenders. I just mentioned all this. Again, if you're joining us, welcome to Funding and Business, how to apply for an SBA loan. And Let's see. So now, last but not least, you have to talk to the lenders. You have to have a business plan. This is your checklist now. Most lenders will expect a business plan when you apply for startup funding. If you need to create one, follow our free business plan guide. They have their own plan guide, but I'll also show you another one if this one's too complicated for you guys. Then also mention the amount and use of your funds. They'll need your credit history, financial projections, collateral, and industrial experience. And then just click on find a lender, and then you'll have to fill out this form. We're not going to do that right now, but again, this is the free resource that you can have right now to be able to find a lender that actually suits your needs. Now, last but not least, again, in summary, if you've been watching, the only thing now left is to actually take action, okay? Because we've already learned the different types of SBA loans. We've talked about what lenders are looking for. We've also discussed about the requirements for an SBA loan. You can check all this back in the video. We've also talked how you can match with a lender. I put a link in the description. And now, last but not least, we can talk about working with mentors. Again, as I said, I'll leave a link in the description. You'll have to work with a group called SCORE. So they're a group of mentors well informed on business information and can actually help you package an application and write a business plan. So you should definitely check them out. I have a link in the description for them, and we can also open a page right here, right now, for you to be able to see who they are. Just give me a few seconds as I pull it up. There you go. So this is SCORE. You can search. So what you basically do is just come find a mentor. This is how it works. This is, again, free information. So just come how SCORE mentoring works. You come, just enter your zip code. For example, I'm in Manhattan. Just watch that, and then put in your information, and they will definitely call you. And how did you hear about SCORE? Please just say other, and I don't mind you guys mentioning me, okay? But again, this is a link where you can actually work with the mentor, somebody who's actually done this before. And I can tell you for a fact, SCORE is a group of people who are volunteers. They're retirees, accountants, people who used to deal with big budgets from companies. So they're really, really well informed on this, and you should really give them a try. Again, you can also click on the link in the description if there's anything. And I want to thank you guys, because to me, you guys are really visionaries. If you've actually watched this video to the very end, I commend you, because I consider you as a visionary. And if you're still feeling that strong urge to continue with your business, it's actually because your future self has achieved it. So it's just a matter of you catching up. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can grow your business, you should actually watch the playlist in the description, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you for tuning in. Ciao.